David Livingston. A weekend of singing and having a good time. Yeah. So last month we explored the idea that within every living soul there is a call to connect with, to commune with, and be in conscious union with a power greater than ourselves, which we call God. And each week last month, we talked about deepening into our mystical selves and to experience a relationship with the divine. And now, this month, I want us to build upon that theme in order to completely ignite the spark of divine life that is within each and every one of us. And to do this, we must keep it simple as we fully participate in the awesome nature of God, realizing that our outer life is a reflection of our inner life and the power that comes when we kick it into gear. So did you find the word spark and embedded in that? I'll explain. I wouldn't have found it better. Okay, so S, simple. As we fully participate in the awesome nature of God, realizing that our outer life is a reflection of our inner life and the power that comes when we kick it into gear. Did you get it? Spark. So let me begin the topic this morning then by telling you something of which I am aware, that everyone who walked in this room today, this morning, is somewhere on a spectrum of a continuum, if you will, of experiences and situations in their life. At one end of that spectrum, think of it maybe as a stick even, at one end, things are happening. We're feeling good. Things are moving in that direction we want them to move in. We're shaking and moving, and everything is exciting and wonderful. Things are clicking. Things are really clicking, and life is working. So I celebrate you, I welcome you, if that is the spectrum that you on, the part of it. I also know that one or two or three or a few more came in this morning on the other end of that spectrum, in a great deal of pain, sadness, grief, fear over personal issues, maybe over global issues, illnesses, relationships, loss, all that stuff, finance. It may have been even difficult for you to come here this morning. You might have found it challenging. So I congratulate you for having the courage to be here this day and welcome you also. And there are somewhere in between also that we all kind of exist upon, the in-between these extreme ends. And I know this is true this morning, and it's true every morning. It's part of our humanness, is it not? Yes. Yes. Question. Yes. Okay. So today, wherever you are on that continuum, we are going to kiss. That's the name of our talk. K-I-S-S. We're going to kiss it and make it better. How's that sound? Because no matter where you are on that spectrum, no matter which end you are leaning toward or hanging off of, this life experience can always get better, which is something to keep in our awareness. It can always get better. And as we come into more of a conscious alignment with the great power and presence of life itself that we call God, that is when it takes place. And today we'll do it with a kiss. And I don't mean that kind of a kiss. I was going to get, and I didn't. The Hershey Kisses and throw them out, but I just know that. It was really on my radar until it was off my radar. But anyway, we're going to deepen into this KISS principle, which stands for Keep It Simple, Sweetheart. Keep it simple, sweetheart. And so this term, keep it simple, sweetheart, could apply to many things in our lives, many things, in different ways. But this morning, I wanted to apply to our spiritual understanding, to deepen into our spiritual understanding. And so this morning, I want to boil down our spiritual understanding into two simple ideas. And these two simple ideas, if we work with them, if we embrace them, if we live in harmony with them, wherever we are on that spectrum of life, we will definitely ignite the spark of a divine flame within us. Sound good?
Yes.
Two simple ideas. Okay, and Rita, we didn't know, read some of the readings that I'm going to also say. But in fact, Ernest Holmes from Science of Mind textbook, and if you want the pages, I can give them to you. Page 417 says, "It is all so simple that it feels and seems unbelievable." And here are the two simple ideas also in the words of Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind textbook, page 43. We come to understand, and Rita read this, and it's so vital. We come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. Law is the divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is the divine givingness. Law is the way. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. Love points the way, and law makes it possible. Now, those people that have taken our core classes have a kind of a concept of what that really means. That's why taking those core classes is really, and that's our Science of Mind classes, it really is important, because then you come here, and some of the people in spiritual practices class are like listening for the steps in the treatment now, because there's 5 steps in the treatment. So it all starts clicking intellectually and on a physical level in our emotions, as we understand this. So this morning we're looking at these two fundamental elements of spiritual understanding known as religious science new thought, based on, and our teachings are based on ancient wisdom. They really are, because this has been all said before many thousands of years ago. Jesus taught it. He knew these two simple fundamental elements of spiritual understanding. Buddha knew it and taught these two simple fundamental elements of spiritual understanding. So let's gain. So want to gain? I do. I'm always like want to learn with you. So we want to gain some spirituality around these two key words, love and law. It's everything. Love, and it's the whole creative process. It's what our symbol is, a Science of Mind symbol without the people in it. I like us in it though. But it's that whole continuum. Love and law becomes our experience. That's why it's divided into 3, so that we can kind of get some inkling of the way the great Creator creates. So really, what is love? We're told in the Gospels that God is good. Good is God. Yet when we talk about love and a really strong tendency to put our we have a really strong tendency to put our human qualities upon that word, love. And so for many people, love has not always been a pleasant thing. There was a popular song some years ago with a chorus which said, "Love hurts." For some people, love means betrayal. It means pain, abandonment, conditions, even abuse in the name of love. So when we talk about God being love, sometimes it doesn't resonate with a lot of people because of our human experience, that we are tangling it all up together. And so we're talking about a bigger, more powerful love, the divine love. And a version of that love, sometimes we, as I said, put our humanness onto that word, and it doesn't feel really like good or connected. So this morning I want to clarify that just a little bit. So I'm asking you this morning to maybe consider just releasing the idea and looking at some thoughts about God's love. Charles Fillmore, founder of Unity, in his book, Talks on Truth, wrote, "The love of God for his children is beyond description. A love so tender and so deep that it cannot be mentioned in the same breath with ordinary love as known by the world. The great love of being is deeper and wider than the thoughts and words of man. And since that is just man's language, it can be known only on its own plane. And man must awaken within himself the capacity to feel a mighty love before he can comprehend how great is the love of God." It's pretty intense, and most of us have that love covered up. So how do we awaken our capacity to love, to feel the love that's so mighty? Despite these beautiful words, I realize that it can be difficult. It can be really difficult to get a sense of love that is so giving, that is so vast, so pure, that we have not even experienced it in our humanness, in our human experience. But let's just do the best we can. That's it. Do the best we can in aligning with what we call the love of God. But remember, like everything else, it's an inside quest. It's an inside quest. So who has children? Pets. No children have pets. Wait, a precious little kitten or whatever. So what are your emotions there? We want to protect it. We want to guide it. We want to make it secure, to hold it, to give it love, to cuddle it, to adore it, shower blessings, and et cetera, et cetera. So get the highest and deepest feeling that you can about that kind of love. And then double it. And then double it again, and continuously doubling it, doubling it. And that doesn't even begin to touch upon the love that is God. It doesn't. But that is the best that we can do for now. So we move on and multiply from whatever level, like Joe said, to appreciate what is in our lives, and that kind of love. It could be love of nature. And just let it expand, 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 and we still can never get the deeper understanding of what the love of God truly is. But it's the best we can do for now. And here's the most beautiful, glorious thing, is that we don't have to do or be anything in order to receive this love. We don't have to do anything. It's unconditional. We don't have to do anything. It's already present. We don't need to bargain with God in order to receive this love. Not like the young groom during his wedding rehearsal, who approached the pastor and said, "I'll give you $100 if you change the wedding vows and leave out all that junk about me having to love, honor, and obey." And he pressed the $100 into the pastor's hand and walked quietly away with a smile. The next day, during the vow portion of the wedding ceremony, the pastor turned to him and said, "And now, son, do you promise to bow down before her, fulfill her every wish, and serve her breakfast in bed for as long as you ever shall live?" And the groom gulped and meekly replied, "Yeah." And he leaned into the pastor and whispered, "I thought we had a deal." The pastor handed the groom back the $100 and said, "She made me a much better father." Wow. God's love is not like that. It's not like that. It is freely and completely and totally showered upon each and every one of us, now and in every moment. We don't have to do anything. every second of every day. That's the definition of unconditional. That is love, and that is the driving force behind all of life. So then what is law? So in Science of Mind, again, page 140, Holmes wrote, in the great universal mind, we are each a center of intelligence. And every time we think, we set the mind law into action. We are immersed in a creative medium, which because of its nature must create after the pattern our thought gives it. Jesus understood this, and in a few simple words, laid down the law of life. It is done unto you as you believe. One of the most powerful statements ever made. No more simple and yet no more profound a statement could have been made, he said. The law is the way that God works. Always in operation. Doesn't stop. It's always, God doesn't stop. It's always present, omnipresent. So it is impersonal because it just gives back what it receives. It is intelligent because it knows how to give back what it receives, whether it's thought or feeling, emotion. It's going to give back what is put into it. You ever see patterns happening in your life and you wonder why the same thing is taking place? New cause. We have to have a new thought. A new thought. So the law is the way that God works. It's how it works. Always in operation. Immutable, impersonal, infinite. And we use this through our minds, just like the law of gravity. It's always in operation, and we can cooperate with it or not. Just like the law of aerodynamics, always in operation, and we can cooperate with it or not. Just like the law of mathematics, always in operation. We can cooperate with it or not. The law works. The law is impersonal, so it doesn't affect the law of God, how we feel about something. We cannot force something to happen. It's going to happen by our thoughts and by our feelings and by our emotions. Spiritual laws say that we are constantly attracting that which we make inevitable by the quality of our thoughts. As I said, remember, the law works no matter what. Whatever you put into it, you're going to receive back. It might not feel that way, but it is. Ernest Holmes, in his great book, Love and Law, tells us how to work in harmony with the law. So we get a mental equivalent, which is a picture of what we desire. For those of you who are not aware of what a mental equivalent is, it's a picture of that which we desire. When we get it through practice, through meditation, thought, study, intelligence, concentration, inspiration, hope, faith, all these different aspects of being, love, prayer, our spiritual mind treatment, desire, work. You've got to take the action too when we're inspired. There's no other way. So the question of this morning then is, if we let love point the way, knowing that the law, spiritual law, does the work, how can we simply make it possible? And Albert Einstein, I love this. I want you to really hear this, because this was very powerful when I found this quote. Albert Einstein was once asked what the most important question humans need to answer, and he replied, "Is the universe a loving place or not?" Is the universe a loving place or not? What is your answer to that question? The answer then will give us an overall tone for our life, because our answer sets the law into motion. Is this a fearful place to live in? Or is this a loving place to live in? Is this a peaceful place? Or is this filled with anxiety? Is this universe a loving place or not? That's for you to take into your contemplation, to see what comes up. Allow yourself to think only thoughts of love. And this is not always easy in life, but it's part of our spiritual growth. To work on a daily basis, to remove the blocks that hinder the awareness of love's presence in our lives. It takes constant inner work to perceive clearly who we are and exactly what the real conditions are in our lives. Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learn. That is the truth, is it not?
Yes. Yep.
We're born as loving beings, and that essence is with us as we leave these bodies. The fear will stay. We're not taking the fear with us. If we live in a world of fear, we must relearn love. To experience love is the meaning of our lives. And think of a world of love, if you can. If there really were, all the 60 songs are perfect for this talk today, because if there really were just loving thoughts being emitted, there would be no war, there would be no hunger, there would be no environmental breakdown, no oppression, no violence, no prejudice. People would be working together with cooperation and peace if love was the ruling principle. So the events are always in flux. One day, and this is life, one day people love you, and the next day you're their target. You ever find this out? One day everything's going really smooth. Everything's flowing smooth. The next day is total chaos. One day you feel on top of the world, like you conquer it all, like that spectrum. And the next day you feel like a complete failure. These are changes in life that are part of our human experience. The love within each and every one of us cannot be destroyed. That's something for us to know. Even if we truly can't feel it at the moment, there is that essence within us that is the love of our divine self that can never be destroyed. It can't be hampered with. It can't be tainted. Every challenge that we come upon is an opportunity to love more. And so because the essence of each and every one is love, I want to leave you with a final thought about love itself. Teilhard de Chardin, the French monk, and I quote him a lot, 19th century mystic, once wrote, "The day will come after harnessing the ethers, the winds, the tides, and gravitation, we shall harness the energies of love, and on that day, for the second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire." So, my sweethearts, wherever you are in life, whatever is up for you moment by moment, when you walked in here this morning, you came with some level of being on that spectrum that we spoke about. Remember to keep it simple. We make it so, I do too, I definitely do, make it so complicated. When if we keep it simple, things just seem to unfold. We're in the flow of life. We're in that flow. You can't be in the flow if it's difficult. So as we move into that flow, this is the way that we spark, that we ignite that divine spark within us, which we really, really want to ignite all of the time. So I'll see you later. Yes.